Dave is traveling. Is Dave traveling toward you right now, Troy?
No, eventually he's going to make his way to Arizona, but he's actually OOLA is all about balance, so he's at a family thing. So he's in the Midwest, back to the Midwest.
Boom. Nice. Well, tonight it's Troy and I. And what do Troy and I talk about? Income streams, right? So we're going to talk about income streams tonight, but it's like not all of like the external and everything, like where you can go up 30,000 feet and look down at, all sorts of income streams that you can create. We're basing this off of the little segment that we've been doing. And so this is going to be off of just your brand. So just the thing with your name on it, just the thing that you have created, which you guys, heads up, everybody can do this. Like you can create a brand. I know that there are people watching right now that are probably like, that feels really outside of where I am right now. But here's the deal, like it's true. You can really do it. It's not a big deal at all. You literally just have to do it. You have to decide that you want to do it. So Troy, let's talk about OOLA and the income streams that you have built around your guys' brand, which you said the number 7, yeah?
Yeah, I just wrote them down before and I actually came up with 7. And I think it's a really good conversation because when you said that people like, it's hard to imagine yourself being a brand or you developing a brand when you think of big brands like Nike and Lululemon and you're like, those are brands, but how do you build a personal brand? I wouldn't have even known it was a thing 7 years ago when we started OOLA, 8 years ago. And because we just did something we love and that fits into this series we're talking about. I think the first thing is you have to really get real with what you love to do. And I think in talking about mindset, like we're always good about clearing the mind with negative thoughts. I think when people think they do something they love or it feels like service, that they have to give it away. I was always that way. Yeah. I was that way that I would go and earn money, but then I'll volunteer and do this to serve people in a certain way. But what if you would be open to the idea that you can actually serve people in a very positive way while you simultaneously earn income?
Yeah.
I look at income as thank you notes with presidents on them. These little bills people give you that they're like, here, thank you because you've helped me. And people do it willingly because they see value in what you do. Where I think the mindset for people is helping people or doing what you love is something you have to volunteer for. Mm-hmm. And then you have this thing you hate over here that pays the bills. But what if you could build a life that did both of those things? And I wouldn't have believed that's even possible. The book came out 8 years ago. So 8 years ago, I was retired and I was done. I thought I was done earning income. I thought I was done working. I had saved for years and had multiple streams of income. All the things you teach became debt free so I could actually just retire. But what happened is this whole OOLA thing came and I loved it. I mean, to this day, all we talk about, all we spread is this framework because it changes lives. But then what happened is it started to create some income streams. We weren't even really looking for it. We wrote a book, didn't think we'd sell, and we sold a bunch. Then we got a publishing deal, and then we got licensing deals, and then we got. And I know it sounds big, and I know it sounds crazy, and I know it sounds weird, but I'm from Minnesota. Dave's from North Dakota. We were two guys, they're just buddies who decided to tell a story that we felt would help people that now has been monetized in the multiples of millions of dollars in ways that these things actually came to us. Almost everything on this thing, someone goes, you should make a hat with OOLA on it. Or someone goes, can we put the word OOLA on our essential oils? Or someone goes, we'd like to sign you for multiple book deals because we saw you over here selling books. So it's not even selling. It's just going out there, doing what you're passionate about, and then finding ways to monetize it. And that's the key. You have to be doing this. And once you get your message out there, once you're persistent, and it takes time. It's not a curve like this, by the way. It's a curve that it feels like nothing's happening. And then nothing's happening. You get frustrated and you keep pushing and all of a sudden it just spikes. Mm-hmm. But once it happens, then you have to look at that, go, okay, how are the different ways I can monetize my brand?
Yes, I love what you're saying so much because we just met like how long ago? Like, but what you're saying
feels like yesterday,
right? It feels like yesterday and it feels like 20 years ago at the same time. It's the craziest thing because like we've lived essentially Not exactly the same circumstances, right? But the same events and the same decisions and the same, like the people asking you to put OOLA on a hat and stuff like that. You guys, when he says that it doesn't happen overnight, he's right. It doesn't happen overnight, you guys. But when you are in your lane and you are showing up in front of the world the way that just feeds you. So you guys see me do lives every day or Monday through Friday, right? You see me doing lives every single day on different topics that feed me, that I talk to you about because they mean so much to me, right? And that is where you start building your community. So your community knows what you're all about, okay? And then once you have a group of people, once you have a community, now it's your responsibility to serve those people. And the way that you serve those people, I love that you said that the dollars that come in are like little thank you notes. That is probably the best reframe of perspective I have ever heard in my life so far as making money or making income in service. You guys, that's exactly what it is. Every time that people like buy stuff, I'm sure from you guys and then from me and like from students and stuff like that, they say thank you. Like they literally say thank you so much for what you're doing, right? That you guys, whenever you're showing up like that and you're able to make income like that and you're changing people's lives and they are happy to give, you guys, that is the sweet spot that nobody talks about existing. And I'm not going to go into all the reasons why I think nobody talks about it existing. That doesn't matter. But the fact remains that it's true and that it's accessible to every single human on the planet. We can all do it. And dare I say, should all be doing it. We should all be showing up in service to our people, okay? So that's like, I just needed to reiterate that goal that you were saying, Troy.
Well, that's the key. I think we always talk about how we need to live differently. That's what OOLA is about, is essentially living differently. We find ourselves on a path that someone else mapped out, this perfect script of going, to college and getting someone and getting married and having kids and living in the suburbs and buying 2 cars and taking a trip. And then so many people find themselves disconnected to that. And I always encourage people, even my kids who are at the age where they're making career decisions, is what if you could find that thing? Don't be the person who I run into all the time in coaching who's 30, 40, 50 years old. And from the outside and on Instagram, their life looks pretty good. But when they look you in the eyes and sit knee to knee, they say, you're not going to believe this, but I'm really unhappy. Yeah. And I'm really overwhelmed because I built this life for my life that is disconnected to what I know my purpose is. And your followers, the people watching this already have gone through this filter of service-oriented, heart-centered people.
Yeah.
And what I would love, and from our experience, just tell you this, that there is a huge opportunity to be heart-centered and caring about people and provide service and still make money. And that's the big disconnect. And you don't do it in a way that's sneaky or cheesy. You can do it in a way that's just simply value, simply offering information. You have a specialty, a framework, whatever the thing that you have, knowledge in nutrition or wellness, whatever your thing is, and start then with the left side of your brain looking at it, go, this is my passion. This is this is the information or the content I create that's valuable to people. But then on the left side of your brain, go, how do I monetize that? Mm-hmm. Because I want to continue to do this. And the beautiful thing about OOLA is as we continue to monetize it, guess what we do? We pour it back into OOLA to reach more people.
Yep.
And then we monetize it more and we pour it back into OOLA to reach more people and pour it back into, you'll see things coming out of OOLA in the next 6 to 12 to 18 months that will blow your mind. People think it's everywhere now. It's going to be everywhere. And it's because we're taking those thank you notes and we're saying, okay, that's proof of concept. Now let's pour it into more people. And it's such a slow process. And that's the encouraging part I want to have for those of you watching today. I wish we could go back and I wish you could see Dave and I just so excited about sharing this framework because it changed my life and it changed his life. And nobody's listening. Nobody's listening. You need to know this because it'll change your life. Your marriage will be better. Your relationship with your kids will be better. Yes, you'll make money. Yes, you'll have a good career, but you'll have a faith walk again, and you'll be kind and positive and in gratitude. And they're like, yeah, I'm not interested. you know? So, but when you persist and all of a sudden someone gets results, then you hit that momentum point.
Yes.
And when that happens, you have proof of concept, you have social proof that your thing works. And then you go, okay, if I'm going to continue to do this thing I love, I'm going to need to make money to support that. Me, my family. And we talked about a bridge the other week where if I'm going to build a bridge from that job I tolerate or that job I hate to this job, I need to figure out how to get paid doing this.
Heck yes. Well, and so let's kind of talk about like the reality between, let me just see what's going on. Oh, there's lots of hellos. One person said, who, me? I feel like somebody felt seen there for a second. I'm just saying, okay, everybody's just saying hi. Laura said, I'm like that. I give everything away for free. That's, Laura, you're not alone. It's how people feel. Let's actually address that.
That's huge. It's very, my wife actually happened to become certified as a coach on her own just because she wanted to. And she was talking about one of her clients who was going through a financial hardship, and she knew that. And she was saying that, I feel like I want to change what I'm doing just because of her situation. And I go back to me, Dave and I were chiropractors back in the day. And we were both had very successful practices that were all word of mouth. And I will tell you why I think they were successful is because when someone came into me, I gave them my honest assessment of what they need to become healthy. I didn't look at their insurance card. I didn't look if they had insurance. I didn't look at what they drove into the parking lot with. It didn't matter to me because my job, they were hiring me as a healthcare expert to say, hey, can you help me, number one? And if you can help me, what's it going to take? And I told my wife the exact same thing this very morning. I said, would this gal benefit from once a month accountability coaching? And she said, absolutely. And I said, I would argue she probably needs it more than all your other clients who can pay readily. And would that be valuable if you spent 10 weeks getting her life on track, week after week after week? Would one more session every month be valuable to keep her accountable to the 10-week program you built for her? Absolutely. Could she find $100 or whatever the fee is for one session a month? You'd find it in the couch. I mean, people, if they're resourceful, can come up with, but they need to see value in it. Mm-hmm. If you give something away all the time, it's perceived as cheap. When someone opens their wallet, they pay attention. Mm-hmm. I have given this exact framework that we teach in OOLA to I'm going to say distant family members, and for free, and they don't comply.
Right.
Someone sits in an OOLA Palooza event, sits VIP, pays $5,000 or $3,000 or $2,000 for 15 minutes. Guess what? They comply. Yeah. I paid for that information. I see value in that information. I'm going to do what he advises, and I'm therefore going to get results. So I'm adamant about it because not only does paying for a service, the person's more likely to get the desired result that you'd like to see for them because they see value in it.
Yeah. There's a natural, I feel like, let's call out the elephant here, because I feel like when people hear other people say that people have to pay in order to have skin in the game, I think that there might be an elephant in the room for some people that are a little skeptical that might be like, well, yeah, they're saying that because they're selling something. You guys, it's not even that. It's because it truly is true, okay? I have had different classes throughout the years where I've taught, there was one class, actually I remember, I'm gonna do this because it's like, it's apples to apples, okay? I did a blogging class once, and it was literally 1 month I did it for free for people, and the next month I did it paid for people, okay? The free class that I did for people, they didn't do anything with it. Same exact information, they didn't do anything with it. The paid class that I did, people started creating their blogs, and then they were able to start monetizing their blogs and all of that, right? They took off with it, and it wasn't even that much money. It was just that they actually had skin in the game. It was because they said, okay, well, I'm going to take my card out and I'm going to pay for this thing, and it was enough for them to be like, okay, well, I'm not going to just throw my money away, right? But if they're not paying for something, if something is free, a friend of mine, Heather, told me this not too long ago. If something is free, it means it doesn't have value. Like, that's what it means, okay? So heads up when using the word free with stuff. Bonus is the word that you want to use, because free means no value by nature. So so there is also that. Go ahead.
Well, I think the because so many people that follow you and follow OOLA are heart-centered, I think that in dealing with our own limiting beliefs and our own self-doubt, there's a confidence that comes from charging that takes time. But it's not saying you can't give things away for free. It's it's totally a mindset thing. We can charge a corporation, which we've collected $50,000 to present to a big corporation that can pay that. Yeah. We go to a school, obviously, and we don't charge a penny for basically the same information because we choose to talk to kids in the next generation. That's a position of power. I think when a lot of people offer free, it comes from a position of weakness. It comes from a position of, I don't know if they'll see value in this thing. And I have my own self-doubts about making this proposition to someone. So rather than getting rejected, I think I'll just hopefully give them this and maybe they'll like it and then they'll come back and buy something later that they, by the way, got for free the first time. So why would they want to pay the next time? So it's not saying you can't give things away and do things for free. We do it all the time in OOLA. Like we're on our Facebook page every day providing free content. But it's different when you're choosing to do that from a position of a passionate message and getting that out there versus self-doubt or fear of rejection that I'm afraid to ask, because here's the cut to the chase point of this talk. If you have something you're selling and you in your own brain don't see value in it enough to be able to say it out loud and look someone in the eyes and see, you're not ready to present it yet. You're not. You have to love. I talk to so many people that are in a business and they got in the business because they could make money doing it. And I'm like, where's the product? Tell me about the product. And they're not even a product of the product. They're a product of, I want to make money and I want to change my life, which I respect that. But the thing you need to be selling, which starts to the first point of passionate, you have to be selling something you are deeply passionate about, because passion in OOLA in the framework is an accelerator. And we say passion trumps everything. Mm-hmm. Passion trumps fear, passion trumps self-doubt. If you're passionate about something, the fear of rejection is no longer an issue because passion just trumps it. It's like a trump card. And in self-doubt, it's like, I'm a little insecure about this, but I'm so passionate that my passion trumps the self-doubt. Yeah. And that's the key is to be able to do that at a level and find that thing that you're passionate about that allows you to overcome any of that personal stuff that you need to overcome to succeed.
Yeah. And I want to clarify, because I didn't earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify. Yeah, I'm all for giving stuff away for free as well. So just so I don't want somebody to misunderstand and think that you need to charge for everything. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. But that's, I did a free training today, or a bonus training today, right? In Heart-Centered Moms on how to push your website up on the Googles, okay? Like we should, whenever you give trainings away and whenever you're sort of projecting education and support, inspiration and motivation out to your community and out to your people, that's your show up time, right? That's your Velcro time. That's your showing people that you are them and that you are the person that they want to learn from. Now, whenever they determine that they want to go down this rabbit hole or that rabbit hole with you, that's where like when the transformations happen and stuff like that, that's where you start getting into exchanges where like, okay, well, we're going to get into more of a comprehensive training. So that's going to cost X, Y, and Z. And you nailed it, Troy. You nailed it whenever you said that it's an inner game. It's an inner game. If you can't even talk about what you're getting ready to offer people or desiring to offer people, and you can't really get it out of your own face, quite frankly, then you're not ready to actually ask for dollars yet. And there's a thing I'm going to say this because this is people always ask this, and so I'm just going to say it right now. People always say, well, what should I charge for my stuff? Like like I'll just get random messages. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. What should I charge for this? And I'm like, blindsided, right? I don't know. The way to determine, in my opinion, the way to best determine what you should charge for something, you guys, there's a sliding scale that I talk about. The top of that sliding scale is where you feel like you are ripping someone off if you go over that top of that scale, okay? The bottom of the scale is where you feel like they are essentially ripping you off, or that they're stealing from you. It's not their fault. This is not malicious at all, but it's an energetic exchange, right? So if you're providing 6 months worth of massive comprehensive value to somebody and you charge $37 for it, and you keep showing up and keep showing up and keep showing up, and you're like, man, they only paid $37 for this. That's the stuff that's going to start going through your head. That's if you're on the too low end, okay? And the reason that you want to stay in between those, you guys, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, Troy. The reason that you stay in between these, you guys, is because if you ask for too little of money in exchange for whatever you're helping them with, you don't want to resent people. You don't want to end up resenting the people that you're serving. So you have to protect yourself against that, because they're going to pay what they're going to pay what you're asking for, okay? And it's not their fault that you only asked for $37, but you are going to feel like, man, I'm giving an awful lot for this $37. Well, that was on you whenever you determined what you were going to price your product at. So the lower end is where you would feel that sort of energetic shift, and then the upper end is where like you feel like, well, I really shouldn't charge that much because I feel like that's overcharging. Everybody has that little sweet spot, and that's where you should charge for whatever it is. It doesn't make a difference what that product is. What's your take on that, Troy?
I go back to the law of fair exchange, meaning that if we go out to dinner, and the bill's 101 and we decide to split, I always want to be the one paying $51. I always want to be the one paying just a little more. I look at everything as an interaction and relationship, and I want the person to leave that interaction feeling like, man, that was a good value. That was a good value. And at the same time, protect your lower number where you're like, I feel like I did okay too. But yes. I always want to be the one that over delivers. Like the under promise, over deliver is such a basic concept that is lost nowadays, where people over promise and under deliver. They come in strong with all of these things, and after the transaction is gone, they're gone. And we've always flipped that and said, hey, how can I do this in a way? And then it is a rising scale. As you start, I'm just telling you our journey. Dave talks about the first time he was asked to speak, because I didn't even want to speak. And he truly got paid a sandwich for speaking, and how that ramped up to $50,000. When we look back, I mean, that sounds like that's a big range. The same talk, basically. Hopefully it was better for $50,000, but it was the same framework. It was the same framework that the free sandwich was. But from the sandwich to that point, we got better. And as we built social proof and credibility, and as other people would refer us, it takes time. But in the people, now that we have this whole network of coaches in all 50 states and 14 countries, the issue I see when people are building their brand in this topic of creating multiple streams of income underneath that brand is really not seeing value in what they do. You can see a phone, something you can touch, or headphones or whatever it is, and go, okay, that's a tangible thing I can touch. It comes in a package. I unwrap it. I order it on Amazon. Someone delivers it. We have no problem seeing value in that, but something like that in my mind has way more value, is something that can change someone's life or transform someone's life from a point of overwhelm and stress to unhappy to happy and balanced. I mean, that's priceless, more valuable than a nice set of headphones. But we have a problem as people saying, okay, how do I articulate value in that? Yeah. So I don't see people. I see people once that clicks. And I think the best way it can click is if you've been transformed by a program. If they're in your HBR, or they've been to OOLA Palooza, or they've been to an event and they go, wow, that was the best money I spent this year, because this and this happened because of that event. And you come home to all these packages you order that are just pushed in the corner, and now you're wondering what to do with them, that no longer have value. The information and content you learned in training, from a brand, from a course, from a book, from whatever you're offering, that you carry with you. And that will pay dividends moving forward if you continue to apply the information. So I think it's more of people just seeing value. And I know it's all over the board. And I have courses, and content is only one of the 7 things on my list. I know there are people watching this that'll have an Etsy store with their brand, and they'll create products and healthcare products. Amazing. But I think the key is get started and be persistent, because it takes a while to get through that ugly phase of figuring out where the price point is and where your confidence is. You don't come out of the gate confident selling your stuff. You should have saw us with our first books. Like, I hope you like this. What a vulnerable place to be, is put your whole life on 200 pages and hope people like it. But that's what you have to do. And once you start getting some feedback that your product helps people, then you'll gain the confidence and you'll be able to price it accordingly.
Yes. Heck yes. Well, let's move on to some other income streams that you guys have done then. So online courses is one of them. Let's talk about another one, just so people can get sort of like the creative juices flowing into what they're doing.
And I'd love to hear and I'd love to see in the chat, like Joe and Devery and Laura and Megan, if you guys have others too. And again, I want to break this down, because I'm all about multiple streams of income. Martha is too. We're not saying here's rent and here's stocks and here's this. We're saying just under your brand, just what we've been talking about the past two to 3 weeks. Just on your brand, how can you monetize? What are the different streams of income under your brand? And I'll give you ours, because these are things we've actually monetized over the last 7-8 years. I'd love to hear yours too, Martha. But so courses, clearly we have OOLA, we have online courses, we have certification programs. We have products, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, gear. We have books. This one, I'm a huge fan. I was a huge skeptic, and I've become a huge fan, because with a book, especially with a publishing deal, you get royalties.
Yeah.
And it's not just the royalties you get. We get royalty checks, and then you get audiobook royalty checks, and then you get multiple titles. It just starts adding up over time. But it's essentially a business card for your thing out there in the world.
Right.
So this whole thing, OOLA, started with one book 8 years ago. And that's why I would encourage people to be brave. If this is something, you always talk about something tugging at you. And I love that. I believe that's purpose. I believe that's God saying, hey, overcome fear, overcome whatever your doubt you're feeling, because you have something the world needs. Yeah. And if ever it's been in your, if that's been in you, that you have a book inside of you, I would deeply encourage it. Dave and I never wrote more than a 3-page paper for college prior to our first book. And it was self-published. And the editor from our local newspaper did the editing the first time. I mean, it was old school, taped together with duct tape project. But that one book started everything. And that's why I don't doubt the impact your story can have on the life of another, and boldly pursue that, because it opens up so many more avenues. The fourth one I have is affiliate income. Once you start building your brand, we're really careful about that, because you essentially become a partner and an extension of another brand. So you don't want to just cash those checks. But if it's something you believe in anyway, something you love, and you start to build a following, affiliate income is a great way to do it. Licensing. Mm-hmm. I know some of you may laugh, like, wait, I'm Sarah. I'm Sarah's Cupcakes. How can I if Sarah's Cupcakes get big enough, someone will license it. It'll be a birthday company. It'll be this. And we've literally made millions of dollars just putting the word OOLA on things that we license the word OOLA on products we believe in. Events, whether it's a Zoom event, we have our OOLA-palooza events. They're great way to generate revenue. I talked about royalties, and then also as an influencer. I get this stuff all the time. I'm sure you probably do too. But as you start to build a following, people say, hey, will you post this and do this, and we'll give you some money for this. And YouTube's the same way too. As you start building a YouTube following, you can monetize that. But if you look at that, I mean, that's just in our little OOLA story. That's 7 ways we've actually cashed checks, starting with a simple brand. Yeah.
That's they're all the same ways. I marked all the same ways. Licensing is on the way as a last one, but it's all, and the book is I'm finishing editing it myself right now. But I've got all of the same ways. You guys, these are things that are not difficult to do. Okay, they're not. Once you really, all that you need to focus on is the way that you want to show up. And I say it until I'm blue in the face, right? You just focus on the way that you want to show up, and then you start thinking, okay, now I'm doing this way. Actually, let me back up to the book, because the book is extraordinary. I don't know if you knew this or not, Troy, but in HBR, I have a friend of mine, I call them super friends, that come in and like teach my people stuff. There's a friend of mine, Brett, who actually teaches people how to write their own book. He like teaches it in HBR. Yeah, it's amazing. Like through a model and everything. And essentially your book then becomes your course. And then you can build out from there. You can build an entire business around it. You guys, there's something about a book that inspires legitimacy. And it's the weirdest thing because you're just as legitimate without a book, but it's something in people's minds where they see that you wrote a book and they're able to like actually read through it and they read your story and they inject themselves into your story because psychologically that's what we do with stories. That's why stories are so powerful, right? And then once they've injected themselves into your story, well, that Velcro hold, here we go with the Velcro again, Troy. I'm sorry if I'm grossing you out. And then the Velcro hold gets really strong again, right, guys? So like he said that a book is like basically like a business card, and it is. It's essentially, it's a lead magnet, you guys. So your people are attracted to the book. The like, you know, they don't have to spend much for the book, or maybe you could do free plus shipping or whatever you want to do with that. It's essentially a self-liquidating lead magnet, and I'm getting a little nerdy, but my HBR people know what I'm talking about. It's a lead magnet, you guys. So you're getting your people, you're putting your bat signal out, you're bringing your people in, you're saying, here's who I am, here's what I'm about, here's how I help also, and then they can start following their own rabbit hole on their own, right? You tell them where to go next. That's the whole book part of everything. There are many people that did not even know they were going to be writing a book that are right now writing their own books, and could not be any more proud of them because it's a massive way to be able to get your message out to people.
Since we're going there in books, I'm going to give you guys, because we've done whole trainings on this, I'll give you our experience on, there's 40 million books or something listed on Amazon, something just ridiculous. But I think the key is taking a little extra time to do three things to stand out. Because people asked us, we started self-published, now we have a publisher, but our first book was self-published. And once we sold 100,000 copies, we got a publisher. Yeah. But so when we're out there grinding this book, how come ours stuck when there's other great books out there that didn't? It's like if you ever go to Nashville, it's like everyone's so talented. Like I love music. I can't tell, how come this person is ultra successful and this one feels the same? I can assure you, if someone's interested in writing a book, they have content that's valuable. So how do you stand out in that noisy world? And it's not that expensive. You could do an ebook if you want, but I would do these three things for sure. Take the time to do these. Number one, I would hire an editor, even if it's your local grammar person, just because if someone reads a book and they're 5 pages and the grammar's off, you're going to lose them. You're going to lose credibility in that space. I would go to like Fiverr or something and have your cover designed professionally, because you do sell books by the cover. I mean, people do look at cover design, and it does need to be appealing. The third one, I would take the time to do the work to get as high up as you dare reach for a forward. Someone who instantly gives a stamp of credibility. We took forever. When Dave and I wrote our first book, we said OOLA is about finding balance in 7 key areas. I think your people know that by now. And we just sat down and said, if we were dreaming, who emulates this? Who's got a strong faith? Who's good at their career? Who's got a great family life? Who's good with their finances? And we thought of Kurt Warner, who, if you don't follow football, he's an NFL, strong Christian based. He won the Super Bowl. He was stocking shelves at a Hy-Vee grocery store and got called up to the NFL and was a Super Bowl MVP. We didn't know him. I didn't know him. Dave didn't know him, but and we just pounded social media until he would read our manuscript, and eventually we got a forward from him. But that's the kind of stuff to this day people go, okay, of the 40 million people, there's only 500,000 that have legitimate forwards and have taken the time to design a proper cover and have had their book edited. None of that stuff costs a lot of money at all. Yeah. And it's just the little thing. So as excited as you are to publish your book and as excited as you are to grow your thing, taking that last little bit to differentiate yourself. And I don't care if it's a product or it's a book or it's a course, that last little bit to differentiate you, because it's so easy to enter this space nowadays. That's the beautiful thing for you guys watching this. If this was 20 years ago, to get a book published just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. So now it's gotten so easy, or to have an e-course online, or to make t-shirts, or to do whatever, or to license your photographs. You can start licensing your photo. None of this stuff existed. So the beautiful thing, it's easy. The flip side of that, it's noisy. So you got to make sure that you do that last little bit to separate yourself from the other people.
Yes. Heck yes. Let's see. Deborah said Iowa boy, right? Yep. Kurt Warner's an Iowa boy. Angela said,
Arizona guy now.
Angela said, slightly confused on the difference between licensing and just selling your own shirts and hats. You want to take that, or you want me to, Troy?
I can take it. So right when you're starting, you're going to just be selling your own stuff. But as you build a brand, your personal brand, or if you have Kathy's Cupcakes or whatever we were using before, it has a logo and it has this. As that brand grows, if that brand has value in the marketplace, other companies may say, hey, can I use your brand? Can I take that logo and that name and put it on our product? Essentially, you're wrapping a brand on a product. Someone else maybe makes a cupcake. Oh, I make a great cupcake, but I don't have a brand. Can I put your brand on my cupcake? You try their cupcake and go, that's an amazing cupcake. I'm happy to put my brand on the cupcake. And if that cupcake's $1, they mail you typically 4 to 11 cents for every cupcake they sell. And that's a licensing deal. Those things, like on your list, I was blown away on licensing deals. We've done a few now, and you got to be careful that it's a product you love, because it's tempting just to put your name in. It also can change your brand in a bad way or a good way. So you have to be careful with that. But selling t-shirts, that's in the 7 things I talked about, that's selling a product. If you build a brand where someone else goes, can I license your brand to put it on my product? That's a licensing deal.
Yes. And let's talk super quick, because I don't want to just brush over the potential balloon versus anchor, brand lift versus brand drop that could potentially happen with that. So let's just talk about it super duper quick, just so you guys have come from an educated space on it. Whenever you're looking at licensing or you're looking to partner with anybody, don't, like Troy said, it's very tempting to just be like, oh yeah, sure, those are good cupcakes, whatever. What you want to do is you want to look at the person, you want to look at the brand itself, you want to make sure you're in alignment with them. Because here's the deal, if your name is on their stuff and they get caught doing something weird or in the news doing something, that's brand anchor and that's brand drop. That means that obviously you're in alignment with them, so you're going to be considered in cahoots in a way, right? Because you're aligned with them. So that's why you want to just pay attention to who you are actually partnering with, and making sure that you trust them, right? Because you have to be able to trust the brand themselves in order to license up with them. Would you consider that good advice, Troy?
Yeah, and we made the mistake. We've done a lot of this wrong. We've done a lot of it right over the years. But I remember the first time someone wanted to put OOLA on a t-shirt and was offering us a licensing deal to do that. Dave and I were just like, are you kidding me? We were high-fiving each other. You're going to buy the t-shirt. You're going to put our logo on it, spreading our brand around the world.
Yeah. And
you're going to pay us for each t-shirt you sell. And we're like, of course, without doing any due diligence of the company, the people, exactly what you're talking about, and didn't work out so great. And we ended that fairly quickly. So I think right away with the first, and I know it feels out of reach if you just started your thing, but it can happen. It does happen.
Yeah.
And when it does, just don't be so honored and excited by the opportunity that you don't just vet it. Just properly vet it.
There you go. Let's see. I'm just going to see what some other people's questions were here. Megan said, I have courses, coaching, and a book about to be published ASAP, and a workshop happening in a couple of weeks. Can hardly believe this is my life. She's an HBR, y'all. That's Megan. These are the kind of people. These are our people, right? They're doing things. Go ahead. I heard you talk.
I wrote down 2 things. One of those 7 things, which I think are sources. But I remember when we were at the stage, it sounds like where Megan is, where things are just starting to go. And congratulations, by the way. That's flipping amazing. It's an exciting time for you, and I love it. I can relate. It's great. But I remember we're big into networking, people who are 2 steps ahead of us. I heard you talk about the other day. So when our book started to sell, we met with Jack Canfield. We worked our way into Jack Canfield's world. He wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. He sold 500 million books. So if we wanted to sell books, we thought he's a good guy to get to know. And we were getting, at this point, the leverage, it's either you're pursuing someone when you're starting, but there's some point where you start to get pursued. It's this leverage point that is just the coolest thing in building a brand. Yeah. Right away, you're advocating your brand in a way that's not too salesy, in a way but then all of a sudden it just tips and people start coming to you. Yeah. So ours tipped and people started coming to us, and we had like all these things, and we sat down with Jack, who, they have Chicken Soup for the Soul, dog food, and, movies. And we're like, how do you know of these 7 things? How do you know which ones you should pursue? Because there's also this issue of focus. As much as we're into multiple streams of income, if you're like, I want to do all of these things, you can lose focus and you miss the big opportunity in the abundance of opportunity. So we call it Jack's formula. That's a real technical name. But what he said you have to look at something, every opportunity you have, and number 1, do I love it? Like, how much do I love it? Yeah. And then number 2, he said, how much time is this going to require of me? Mm-hmm. And number 3, what is the income potential of this opportunity? Yeah. And number 4 is, how much does it cost to start? So all of a sudden now, whenever there's an idea to create an additional stream of income for OOLA, how much do we love it? And if we love it, we're not as concerned about the money. You can work those 2 back and forth. But how much do I love it? How much time is this going to require? What is the income potential of this new stream? And how much does it cost to start? And I think if someone's looking at making t-shirts, you could do that. Do you love t-shirts? How much time is it going to take to develop these t-shirts? What is the income potential? And how much does it cost to start? Those can all easily be answered. And then you can go, t-shirts are a good idea. If I'm going to start a home-based business like network marketing, do I love the product? How much time is it going to require? What is the income potential? And how much does it take to start? I mean, you run all of these through, and by doing that, you'll weed out some of the outliers that weren't going to be successful anyway. And then as you develop these streams, that's what I love, this concept of, then we say we just water them and put sunshine on them. We put in time and energy, and then you start to see what comes out of the ground. And over time, you start to see what comes out of the ground, and then you put a little more water and a little more sunshine on those, because that's where the real opportunity lies. You have to give them time. You have to let the soil take. You have to let the sun shine. You have to let it grow. But in short order, 1 to 3 years, you'll start to see that, okay, I planted 7 seeds here. Few are okay, but man, these 3 are the thing. And that's where you start. That's where it gets really fun, because now you've dialed in what the real opportunity is. And that's where you can just get right behind it and pour on all your focus and attention. Yes.
I love that. All of those questions, I don't know if you knew, I have an idea book coming out pretty soon, and it has a bunch of questions to run an idea through before you determine whether it's front burner, back burner, if it should even be something that is implemented at all. And some of those questions are the ones that are in there too. I love that they just like synchronize completely. That's the whole, that you have to analyze your stuff. Don't just get excited about something. There's so many things in the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, or even in the middle or whatever. I mean, I still have these moments of where I just get massively excited about something, and then it's like, but it's not the right time to do it. It's just, it's not something that needs to be jumped on right now, but I have to check myself with that, because I just get excited about things because I'm an entrepreneur and that happens. But you have to run it through the filter and make sure that
you have to stay grounded. There's a super talented guy I was coaching, super talented guy, charismatic, he could write, he was good on video, but he just could never get it to work. And he would always push it down a lane. And every time I would talk to him, this is what we do as entrepreneurs, because you love your product, whatever that thing you're advocating, you're typically passionate about it. And he would go back to this one story of using whatever he taught that totally changed this one gal's life. But that was it. That's where it ended. So every other vehicle that he was trying to get this message out didn't work. But that's such a great feeling to be able to impact someone's life. But he wasn't listening to the objective information that what I'm doing now isn't working. That worked 12 years ago in this one incident, but you have to either repackage it, rebrand it, redo it, do something different because it's not working now. And as entrepreneurs, we get so we so highlight our successes, because that reinforces this thing we love. But we tend to, especially early on, minimize this data we're getting that's valuable, that this isn't working. And to be able to objectively step outside of your own life and go, what's working and what's not, is a super valuable tool. That's why having a coach is valuable, because a coach will keep you honest. A coach will say, like, I called him out. I said, dude, I've met with you 4 times. You tell me the same story. That was 12 years ago. He was like, what was that Al Bundy TV show? He's talking about touchdowns he scored in high school. I'm like, you're 45 fat on the couch right now. You're not scoring touchdowns anymore. Like that's old news. Like, if you want to change things, you have to do things differently. And as entrepreneurs, I'm the same way. I'm excited. I want to grab all that positive reinforcement to push me forward. But at the same time, I need to assess the real data out there to get a true assessment of what's going on.
Yes. Heck yes. Well, you guys, let me see. I want to see what you guys are saying. All right. It looks like somebody already, I'm sorry. I'm just going to babble over here. I want to talk to actually the people that are watching right now that are like, okay, this all sounds great. The brand, I do have things that I love. There are things that I know I would be able to branch off. Like, I'm seeing the t-shirts, I'm seeing like the coffee cups, I'm seeing, being able to write a book and stuff like that. Maybe I have no idea how that's going to happen, but I can totally see that happening. But you don't really have like maybe that anchor point in your business. So it's important to have an anchor point of service in your business, right? And where you show up and you serve. That is the best anchor point to have, because in my opinion, you can't really successfully show up and say, hey, buy all my t-shirts, buy the coffee mugs and stuff like that, but then not have something very transformational to be able to help people with, because that's the anchor. That's the heart and the soul of everything. Your shirts, your coffee mugs, your everything else are all sort of like outward references of this anchor point. And so sometimes people have a hard time even getting to that anchor point of a business because they think that they have to create all of the things. Like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I need to create this coaching, or I need to create this course, and have that be that point of magnetism, or that anchor point, right? Here's the deal. Since I have met these guys, I have gone through, and I'm almost done, I have gone through the OOLA certification, okay? That is a just add water anchor point for anybody on the planet. You can build your entire business. You can build income streams off of it and have that be your core space that you work from. So I know that a lot of people ask me whenever I first started getting certified, and they were like, well, you're a business coach. Why do you need to get certified in that? And I desired to, I wanted to, because I work with business people, but that's just business, right? There's so much else to life. There's your faith walk, there's your family, there's your finances, there's your fitness. There's so many other things, you guys, aside from just business. And I wanted to be able to, because I work so closely with extremely business-minded people, I wanted to be able to offer the rest of this balance to them. But what I found in doing it, you guys, is I found my own balance. So when I went into it, I felt already balanced. And this is I haven't even talked to Troy about this before, but I felt my own balance. Like, I thought that I was already good. And what I discovered as I was going through the actual certification, what I discovered in myself is that the fitness part of life wasn't like we are gluten-free and we don't eat processed sugar and we're very like regimented in that way. But I was kind of phoning it in so far as the workouts are concerned. Like I would work out, but it wasn't like what I really wanted to be in my life, right? And so since I started that, you guys, I've changed that entire part of my life. Now I look forward to workouts. You guys, I'm like 40 and I can see a six pack. Like that is ridiculous for me in my life. And I'm not like, hey, I'm so awesome. But I'm saying it took that being illuminated, and it wasn't being illuminated any other way. And I do self-development stuff all the time, you guys. So here's what I'm trying to say. What I'm going to say is that not only can being an OOLA life coach be an anchor point for your entire business in a way that feels amazing to you, but you can literally positively impact is the word here, you guys. You can positively impact everyone on the planet's life. There's no limit to the people that you can impact. I've been impacted by this, okay, you guys? Everyone on the planet needs this. So don't think like, well, if I become an OOLA coach, there are other OOLA coaches and da-da-da-da-da, right? You have your circle of influence, and nobody else has influence over your circle of influence the same way that you do. And if you choose to really show up for those people, they're going to start sending their friends to you as well. And you can start building a brand, you guys, from being an OOLA life coach. Would you agree with that, Troy?
No, totally. I that's how we built it, by the way. Not to just, people call themselves the OOLA army out there sharing these principles, but if you and I are the same person with different chromosomes, I think, because it's just, I love OOLA because it keeps me in check. I'm business driven, money driven. That's just how God created me. I don't know why. I don't try to outthink it. That's just the stuff I'm naturally attracted to. I'm just the stuff I dig into, the stuff I read. Every book I've got is a financial book or a business book. So a lot of the people who come to me for coaching are how to grow my business, how to grow my business, how to grow my business, and how do I make more money. But when we start having a real conversation about life, they assume that growing their business and making more money will give them fulfillment and happiness. But once we have an honest conversation, many times they're pouring themselves into their business and making money to avoid an awkward relationship with a child or a painful marriage or a past guilt they're carrying. So OOLA is way more than, and even for you pursuing a business, a good question is a real deep why. Why do you want to grow? Do you need self-worth? Do you need validation? Do you want to pay the bills? Do you want to reduce stress? I mean, and I think we talked about how getting a forward on a book is a differentiator. You, in whatever you're growing, being certified as a new life coach is a differentiator. It makes you different. There's business coaches on every block, and there's people that tell you how to make money all over YouTube. That's everywhere. But you're taking a global interest in someone's back to our training as chiropractors. We had a different mindset of health. Health is not simply peeing in a jug and drawing some blood and saying you're all within the normal ranges. You're healthy, because we know that doesn't represent health. Health isn't just the absence of disease. It's living fully and vitally and abundantly in all of these areas. Just like success isn't just a great business and a good bank account. It's not. It's healthy marriage and healthy relationships. It's good physical and mental health. It's a strong faith walk. It's having joy where people like you and I would kick joy down the road 15 years because we don't think it's important. It's having joy today. And learning these things, because we study people who look at this as a global thing, this thing called life as a global thing, and they're happy and peaceful and kind and positive and fulfilled. I know people who make millions of dollars a month who are miserable because there's always more money to be made. There's always someone making more money. There's always someone trying to take it from them. They're living in fear. And it's like, OOLA is such a cool thing because even if someone's, we're going to the cupcake person again. I don't even know if she exists, but even that, if you use the framework to run your business as part of your life, will more likely have your business succeed. Because you're going to understand that, okay, I'm going to go through a season to start my business, and you'll communicate differently with your family. Like, I'm in this season of unbalance because I want to create a lifetime imbalance for us. So just understand that I'm going to be a little more focused on this work thing for a while, but what are your basic needs right now? because I want to make sure that I'm meeting those, rather than just pouring yourself into your business and lifting your head up 3 years later and you have a successful business, but your family's gone, or they're distant, or they're angry. It's a 3 steps back look at life that can benefit everyone.
It's just you guys, money doesn't matter if you don't have anything else. It doesn't matter. Everybody thinks that money is the solution to having a happier. They think, okay, well, whenever I have money and I can make ends meet and have more, then I'm not gonna argue with my spouse anymore. We won't have anything else to argue about. Or you guys, if you think money's the answer, you're wrong. It's helpful, and like Troy says, it's an amplifier of what kind of person you are. Did I just cut you off? Were you gonna say something?
No. I just did a training on this, and because I study this stuff from the very left brain research side of things, and money and happiness is a big topic, right? Because especially if you don't have any, I've come from a place of no money, and when you don't have any, you think, man, if I could be them. And there actually are 3 places money buys happiness. Ironically, there are places when say money. If you aren't making $75,000 a year as a family, and let's say you're making $32,000, and we could have your family make 75, you would be happier, because now the basics are being met. Food, utilities, roof over your head, transportation. From 75 to 120,000 a year for a family, it's less happiness, but a little more happiness, because now you have some luxuries, maybe a trip, a nicer car, a better house. But that's about it. If you correlate someone who makes 120,000, which blows my mind still, 120,000 a year or 10 million a year, no differentiation in level of happiness from those 2 people. Happiness, so that one is income. Number 2 is money for time. If I hate shoveling the driveway because I grew up in Minnesota, and I can pay money to have someone shovel, and I can even just sit here and watch. People say that's happy. Like, you're happy. Like, I'm glad I don't have to do that. I'm glad someone's willing to do that, because I purchased that time. I could watch Netflix. I could work on my business. I could do something I love versus something I hate.
Yeah.
And experiences. People who have experiences, they fly on a hot air balloon ride. They take a trip. They go camping with their kids when they're young. They get dividends the rest of their life every time they reflect back on that trip. Yeah. So money and happiness is a weird topic, because there are incidences that money is awesome and it's freeing, and you can give it, which is another big way that you can benefit from money. But it's not what people think it is. It's not. Right. It's not what people. It's not going to solve everything for you. That work is done here. That work is done internally of you looking at your life, looking at your purpose, looking that you're living in these key areas in a way that's balanced and growing.
Oh my goodness. Somebody just said, you are literally answering my questions as I'm asking. Oh man, that's awesome. Marie said, OOLA completely changed me personally and changed my business. And it was thanks to HBR I found it and had the courage to get certified. That's awesome. Deborah, you can get paid for what you do physically or for what you know. It pays better getting paid for what you know. Not gonna disagree with you there. What I am going to do is I'm going to remind you, because we're going to wrap up here in a minute. Where is my graphic? Oh, y'all, I got a graphic. Here it is. Okay. Here it is.
I love it.
As we were getting ready to come on, I'm like, hey, look at this. Here is, wait, I have to get my fingers in the right place. All right there. This is, yeah, thank you. It's hard, isn't it? This is the website that you go to be able to get into our mastermind. It's a $2,500 mastermind that you get into free just by signing up to be an OOLA coach. And here's the deal. You may hear that and you'd be like, but I don't know if I'm ready to sign up to be an OOLA coach. Here's what you do. You go to this website. You click on the button to set up a call with an advisory coach. You go to that call. It's not a weird sales call. It's a call to determine whether it's right, whether it's a good situation. It's all about you and about OOLA, right? Is this a good fit? Really is what the call is about.
Just like we were talking about that licensing thing. We want to make sure that we're good for you and you're good for us. Honestly, that's what it's about. So it's such a great call, and they're doing such a great job, because at the same time, we want to, in that law of fair exchange, we want to give you more value than you're seeing, because then you're out there advocating OOLA in a positive way. So it's not a sales call. That's what I want people to know.
Not a sales call. Not at all, you guys. So what you do is you hop on the call with them. If you decide to become a coach, that's awesome. If you don't, whatever. Either way, right? But I am. And then also, the mastermind is December 7th. You will get into that for free if you come through this link right here, okay, you guys? So you will get into that $2,500 mastermind December 7th as a bonus. Let's say that, because I'm not supposed to say free. I still get stuck on it too, you guys, so whatever. But that mastermind, you guys, the whole point of that mastermind, I don't want to just say, ooh, come to this mastermind. Here's what the point of the mastermind is, okay? Is that we are going to set a blueprint. We are going to make a plan for 2021. 2020 has been a bit weird for a lot of folks. Here's the deal. 2021 is going to be set up with intention. 2021, we are going to decide how we show up. 2021, we are going to be in control of how we serve and how we bring people to us and how we set up our income streams, how we do everything, okay, guys? We're no longer being batted around. We are showing up in our own space. And that is what the mastermind is going to cover on December 7th, okay? It's going to put us in a good place. So then that's on December 7th. Then you've got a whole rest of the month to like get your little roadrunner legs twirling or whatever we call it. And then in January, just boom, hit the ground running like nobody knew what was coming, right? Did you want to say anything about the mastermind, Troy?
I just think if you've been hanging out the past few weeks and you're thinking about it, now is a great time to get on the phone, go to oolife.com/Martha and actually talk to Advisor Coach. And then if you decide it's a good fit for you, to get the certification process started now, because the information you'll gain, you probably won't get all the way through the certification before December 7th, but you'll be significantly through. You go at your own pace, but that knowledge you'll bring into the mastermind and then carry into 2021. When you merge that, will be a perfect way to build, whether it's your business or your personal life, how to build a plan that you can actually execute in 2021.
It's going to be amazing, you guys. It's going to be amazing. And I already know that there are a bunch of you that are already jumping on. So, I mean, it's just, if you're feeling the nudge, you guys know I talk about the nudge all the time. That little tap, that little, like the still small voice inside, right? That little like, maybe this is for me. If you're hearing that at all, you guys, then you need to at least push the button on the website, okay? You need to at least have the conversation. Make your decision of where you want to go from there. But what you're doing is you're just taking the next step. That's all that it is. Take the next step, and then decide if you want to take the next step, and decide if you want to take the next step. It's one step by one step by one step that leads us into the life that we are designed for. Okay, and all we can do is take one step at a time. So this is literally your first step in doing so. Okay, people are like, "Oh man, it's only a month away." Oh my gosh, it is only a month away. So living in Florida. I'm just gonna say, living in Florida is weird because it doesn't feel like November right now.